here in Prince George's County. We're from everywhere. We're from Central America, we're from Africa, we're from the Caribbean. And so I want to make sure that we're celebrating that in real meaningful ways.
Right.
And a lot of times that means in our education community, making sure that we're celebrating in the schools themselves the cultural competence and the cultural connections that we have in those schools and the various languages that people speak. But also in our businesses, that we're making sure that we're celebrating and rewarding the fact that we're a diverse county and we have these different ethnic groups and immigrant population that make us the rich country that we are.
Right. Thank you very much. And in terms of the leadership, in reaching out to the leadership, is there any structured, maybe scheduling of meetings, either with the faith-based community, with the, the non-profit community, who will be able, maybe they meet with you on a regular basis? Can you tell more about that, at least so that our audience will know about that?
We do. I mean, we're Levon Thomas, who heads up our Community Affairs Division, and Nina Smith, who is the assistant in Community Affairs, have been very good at making sure that we have quarterly meetings with the faith community, that we have quarterly meetings with the nonprofit, especially our African community and our Latino communities, that they come in and they're sitting down with me, not just with our directors, but with the county executive, so that I know for myself where we're doing well and where we're not doing well. But more importantly, I know which avenues we need to make sure we highlight. And so those are done on we try to do them quarterly. So, this is the first year of the administration. It feels like we've been doing them every day. But I think it's important that the group that brought me into the seat at county executive know that they still can come in and meet with me.
Okay, and that's a very solid, important point that you mentioned, that the group. So how, in terms of distribution, in terms of being able to get them represented, not only in the staffing workforce, also in the management as well. Can you share with our audience about that?
Well, what we did during the transition was we reached out to a variety of groups and we said, listen, send us your best and brightest here so we can try and recruit them for our government. But also in terms of commissions, there are a lot of commissions and boards that help run Prince George's County. I mean, they're almost like the silent government. And so what we said to our various groups is we want a well-rounded, Prince George's County. So send us again the names of the people, and we're vetting through those names right now, putting people on the various boards and commissions. The other thing that the administration did in terms of diversity was we looked at the number of women that were in top-ranking positions. And we wanted to make sure that we're not only sensitive to cultural competence, but we're also sensitive to diversity in terms of females and male population. And so I'm pleased to say in this administration, we've hired a number of women that are in key positions, probably far more than any other administration. And I've got a couple more that are going down before the council. We've got a terrific young lady we've nominated for our county attorney's office, Andre Green, who I'll be promoting to head that up, because I think it's important that we show, like I said, not only diversity in terms of the community, but also in terms of male and female.
Wow. We're going to talk about a little bit of something different. Today, something happened. We had a sad news, the passage of Mr. Steve Jobs. And I have an iPad right here, and I think he has been able to play so many tools that have been able to make life easy. So I'm going to talk about technology. So how has the county, from your standpoint, been able to look at technology, not only in the schools, in the healthcare, and in making life easier for people right here?
It's interesting. I just finally got an iPad that I'm using. I got the first one.
Oh, you got the first one? Okay.
It's the first one, and I'm actually using it, so that they find that amazing. But technology helps us in the schools to be able to communicate, to do distance learning. It's also going to help us as we talk about our global community. Our missions when we go overseas to Africa, to the various countries, is technology is going to help us not only stay in touch in a business sense, but also in our K through 12 education. So they're going to get a chance to actually experience being overseas without actually physically having to go there. So, I tell my children that When I was a child, we actually had to fly over to
That's right.
overseas to experience. You can actually experience it in real time through technology. And so Steve Jobs passing is a big loss for us in the United States and the world community. But his legacy is going to be making the world smaller, quite honestly.
Absolutely. So we here at Global Culture, we love technology, and that's why we are able to, encourage people to learn. And of course, through the other instruments invented by Mr. Steve Jobs and his team, we, say, may so rest in peace. I still just have to bring that up. Moving forward into the next phase of your government. Can you share with our audience the plan in terms of the reduction of the, I know we mentioned that in terms of economics, the creating jobs.
That's right.
Jobs.
Yeah, it really is. The big push for us, just like across the United States, is about jobs. I mean, Economic Development Incentive Fund is about creating jobs. Even if you look in terms of our healthcare, we've just signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, with the University of Maryland Medical System to not only come here and have that group run our hospital, Prince George's Hospital, but also to help build a new hospital.
Wow.
And that's going to create not only healthcare for access to healthcare, but jobs in the healthcare field. So everything that we're doing in this government is looking on how we can create job opportunities for the folks who live in Prince George's County and who have businesses in Prince George's County.
Right. Thank you. And for those our young people out there who are actually, being pushed to be able to make a choice of what they need to really do in terms of being able to meet with the jobs that you are creating, what do you tell to them of, folks, young people who wants to make a decision, sciences, humanities? What do you advise to them? As you are a parent as well.
I am, and it's every time I advise my kids to do something, they try to do the other thing. But what my wife and I do with our children is what our parents did with us, and that is to find something you really care about, because that right there, that niche right there will help you study harder. And if you really care about it, you'll never have to work. You'll have passion with it. That's why I went into public service. This is what I wanted to do since I was 17.
Oh, wow.
And so the opportunity that every day I get to go wake up and do this. So our son is an artist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And our middle child is a religious studies major.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And our youngest wants to be an artist also.
Oh, wow.
So we're hoping there are plenty of job opportunities out there.
Right.
But as the county goes, we're going to emphasize science and math. We think no matter what you go into, what field it is, whether it's art, whether it's music, science and math and an ability to think critically will always help you. And humanities, the ability to write. I tell my children, if you can write, you will always have a job. That's a skill that you can never do. So we want our children to, and when I say our children, Prince George's County's young people, to work hard in school, to work hard. We want them career ready and college ready when they get out, and we're going to work to do that.
All right, thank you. And you mentioned family, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You are a busy executive right here. How do you balance that? Being able to do the job of the public service and to be able to be the father, a husband, and head of your home.
Well, first of all, I'm blessed to have a tremendous wife who's had to put up with this for a long time. But, it's interesting. I mean, this is a lot different, this job as county executive, a lot different than when I was in the state legislature. So my kids were used to me going to Annapolis and staying there for 90 days and working on. This right here is every day. Our life every day is affected by it. But like I said, I've been blessed that I have a great wife who's very supportive, and I have children at the age where they understand, Daddy may not be able to make this meeting, but he is doing important work.
Right.
And so I'm blessed that they understand it and they care about it. My running for office, as many people who know me know this, that it was a family decision. It was my third time running. I had said to the family, if they did not want to go through this one more time, I wouldn't put them through it. But we decided to do it as a family, and that's how we look at governing, that we're all in it together.
Wow, that's great. Public service essentially is very key for young people at home out there. You've had him the third time, and you just have to be focused and do what you love to do. So can you share, and what advice do you give to young people who are at the stage of saying, do I go into private sector, do I go to public service? What advice do you have for the young people out there, especially the immigrant who comes in here who still have another home?
Well, you know what, I mean, what I've found dealing with most of the immigrant population that come into Prince George's County and go through our public school system, they really are sharp. I mean, they really understand how to balance both worlds, and it really is a balance of both worlds. Whether it's Africa, whether it's Central America, South America, it reminds me a lot of those of us who migrated from the southern part of the United States to the northern part. You really had to balance the two. So what I say to our young people is find your passion, work hard, listen to your elders, listen to your elders, because there's a lot of wisdom there that you may not think there's wisdom coming out, but, but there is. And, enjoy life. If you do that, you'll do well. And volunteer. Try new things. Don't be afraid. And I think this is something Steve Jobs said. He said, don't be afraid to fail, but try new things and volunteer. Get out there and get involved.
Very key word, volunteer. And I know we're almost out of time for now. I know the Prince George's County, they have an office of volunteering, of community service, for folks who are really interested. So a final word for our viewers at home. And we thank you for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great. And keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, sir. Here we have been talking to Mr. Rushern Baker III. He is actually the county executive in the Prince George's County. And for those who are watching outside the United States, that's in Maryland and actually in the United States, North America. So again, we thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing with our public the interesting, good plans you have. And on a final note, I got a couple of announcements. Just interestingly, October, because we kind of calculate all the independences of the different countries in the area culturally. Nigeria is actually 1 year older, so to speak. So at this time, they just had an independence few days ago, October 1st. Viewers at home, we thank you again. And final event, Eco Club International is having an event on the 13th of this month. We're going to have the event at the end of our program. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, we thank you, Mr. County Executive. See you next time at Global Culture. Thank you.